Hello and welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. I'm Veenu Santhu. It's the 15th of June 2023 and here are the top stories of the day. Is this the end of the road for Subhash Chandra? What can the alleged CoWin data leak teach India? How will the new TER structure impact AMC stocks? And what is spatial computing? Media baron Subhash Chandra's rise wasn't meteoric. It was slow and carefully crafted. From being a school dropout, he went on to set up India's first private satellite TV channel, Zee TV, which reportedly reaches 1.3 billion people today. Chandra, who's 72 years old today, has seen many ups and downs. And now a lot of things appear to be stacked up against him. SEBI has barred Chandra and his son Puneet Goenka from holding managerial or directorial positions in any listed entity. Is this then the end of the road for Subhash Chandra? Tushar Verma and Ayush Mishra do the reality check.
In an interim order on June 12, the Securities and Exchange Board of India debarred former Zee Group chairman Subhash Chandra and his son Puneet Goenka from holding key managerial positions in Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited or ZEEL. This came against the backdrop of SEBI's ongoing investigation of an alleged misappropriation of 200 crore rupees by Zee Entertainment. The SEBI alleges its examination of the transactions in ZEEL and its associates have found that the amount originated in the parent company. It then went through several layers across its 7 associate entities and ended up back in ZEEL's account. According to SEBI, this was done to show that the associate entities fulfilled their payment obligations towards ZEEL. The image on your screen from SEBI's order shows the intricate layerings of transactions. But what prompted the examination? In November 2019, 2 independent directors of Zee Entertainment, Sunil Kumar and Niharika Vora, resigned. They raised concerns about misappropriation of Zee's 200 crore rupees worth fixed deposit with the Yes Bank. The 7 associated entities of Zee owed 200 crore rupees to Yes Bank. Subhash Chandra, the then chairman of Zee Entertainment, submitted a letter of comfort or LOC against 200 crore rupees worth of fixed deposit of Zee Entertainment, assuring repayment of debt by the associate entities. Yes Bank adjusted the fixed deposits to clear its outstanding debts with Zee entities. Resignation of the 2 directors along with their concerns prompted the SEBI to conduct an inquiry into the company. And this is not the only time Subhash Chandra has landed in trouble. Towards the end of 2019, he was forced to resign as the chairman of the Zee Group. The SL Group, which is the parent company of Zee, had accumulated a massive debt of 20,000 crore rupees. To pay the debts, Subhash Chandra had to downsize his stake in the company since he had raised funds by pledging shares. Now, he and his family own less than 5% stake in the Zee Group. So, is it fair to say that the recent development is the end of the road for the Chandra family?
We are not so much concerned about the Chandra family per se, right? I mean, this obviously is a damning indictment on the integrity, I would think, of the 2 individuals if the charges are eventually taken to a logical conclusion, right? Because this order itself has not given them a hearing. So this is an interim order. 2 is it is likely to be challenged in the SAT.
The letter of comfort submitted by Chandra to Yes Bank was allegedly done without the approval of the board. This is a violation of SEBI rules. So, what does this say about the governance practices at the Zee Group?
If you see, this is a bad practice followed by the banks also. And unfortunately, in India, the bank, it was in this case Yes Bank, did not rely on a board approval. It relied merely on a letter of comfort by a chairman of the board. Secondly, if you look at the RBI regulation, that itself talks about the bank's exposure to groups of companies. So how can you banks give loan to an unlisted company based on a comfort letter or some deposit of a listed company where the promoter has only a part shareholding? So this itself is a issue with the RBI regulations itself and directions to banks.
After the SEBI's blow, both Chandra and his son appealed before the Security Appellate Tribunal against the interim order. But can there be a respite on the horizon?
Look, it's very difficult to say. I don't know. I haven't seen what they've appealed on, etc. Now, if you kind of take a step back, one of the things which I had picked up and SEBI saying that it's kind of taken 4 years for them to come up with this judgment is that there was, there was a discussion going on that can this matter be settled with SEBI. Now, therefore, if it, if you're asking for a matter to be settled, there is an admission of guilt. Now, the question to ask is that, look, what is the fine based on, what the crime was, so to speak? Is it that you cannot be on the board of a Z? Is it that you cannot be on the board of a listed company? Or is it that there's a fine and compounding which is there? These are issues which the SAT will take a view on, and I don't at this moment have clarity.
The latest developments in Z's legal battle with lenders over loan defaults have also hit the merger of Z and Sony, inked in late 2021. The deal has been delayed, and market observers are uncertain about the merger's future. Puneet Goenka was supposed to be MD and CEO of the merged group. So, what future can one expect?
I think that is something that will get into a bit of a delay situation. I know how much effort and work and everything has gone into making sure that a media house that had such a wide footprint in the country would somehow get into a rescued shape, if you like, and I think that opportunity has unfortunately been been delayed, if not lost.
The SEBI's order was an interim one. Experts say the Chandra family can challenge the final order if the same goes against them. While the Sony Z merger is expected to get further delayed, the fact remains integrity of Subhash Chandra as a media baron has taken a hit.
She'll soon be quoted on the front page. Business Standard.
Apart from Subhash Chandra, the other news that caught people's attention this week was the alleged data leak from the government's CoWin platform. The centre has trashed the reports. Minister of State for Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, has tweeted that the data being shared seemed to be from an earlier breach. That said, the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team has been told to submit a detailed report on the matter. With concerns that the leaked data could be used for identity theft, phishing emails, scams, and even extortion calls, Bhaswar Kumar spoke to experts to understand where the problem lies and how it can be fixed. Here are the edited excerpts from the discussion.
Hello and good morning, and welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. Information belonging to hundreds of thousands of Indians who received COVID vaccines was allegedly leaked recently. This included crucial data like a person's phone number, gender, ID card information, and date of birth, which was leaked on Telegram and could be retrieved with the help of a bot by entering a person's name. For its part, the central government has termed the reports of this breach as mischievous in nature. It has also said that the bot had not been accessing the CoWin database directly. Even if we keep the latest case aside, one can't deny that our data is not secure. For example, a recent report by an exposure management company called Tenable revealed that India ranked second in terms of the total number of data breaches exposed in 2022. Against this backdrop, we have with us Himanshu Pathak, founder of cybersecurity consultancy CyberX9, and Salman Waris, managing partner at technology law firm TechLegis Advocates and Solicitors. They will help us understand why India continues to be hit by a sizable number of data breaches and suggest a way forward. So let's jump to the questions, and we will start with Himanshu. How is the data that the government and its agencies collect from Indians protected? What is the system like? And considering that the servers of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences were hacked by cybercriminals just a few months before the alleged CoWin leak, how can the gaps in this system be plugged?
In the past, we have done several research of some serious data breaches in India. For example, Vodafone Idea, a company named as Policy Bazaar, Punjab National Bank. And we were playing a role of whistleblower from past few years, and we were ringing the bell continuously on the government that there need to be a robust system by the government as well as by the private entities to secure the sensitive data. Actually, the problem is our Indian government agencies are taking quite huge number of sensitive information from the users, which is actually not required. For example, in the case of CoWin, they were taking complete Aadhaar number. That is actually not required. You can just take the virtual Aadhaar number, which is given by the UADI only, or you can take the last 4 digits and all. That complete Aadhaar number is just useless.
So just to get back to the point though, sir, what are the specific gaps that are there in security?
Basically, there is a lapse of a strict law like GDPR in European Union. So once the government agencies and the private agencies are under the strict obligation to secure the data, they will do so. If there is a no strict law, there is no capital, no punishment, no implementation of fines are involved, then there will be lapses. You implement the strict data protection law on the government as well as on the private entity, and you make people responsible. You make people pay for their negligence. That will solve the problem.
Noted. So, Salman, coming to you, do you agree with this, or do you think the gaps in the solutions lie elsewhere? Would you concur with what Himanshu has said?
Yeah, I think I would agree with what Himanshu has said, but I would like to add to what he has said. See, we as a country, we have a plethora of laws, and these laws goes back to the British, government, and a lot of these laws are almost century old. But it's not just having the law, but it's also having a very robust enforcement mechanism and agencies that are very proactive in terms of taking action. Now, unfortunately, with our country, the problem is that for the almost last 10 years, we have been talking about having a data protection law. And each time there is a proper effort made in drafting a law and getting it introduced in the parliament, there have been several versions of the bill. And each of those times, the bill gets diluted in some way or the other. The latest draft is now supposedly set to be introduced in the parliament in the monsoon session. But there have already been some attempts to dilute the teeth in terms of enforcement or in terms of breaches and the bill's scope as far as the government agencies are concerned. Now, government is, as far as India is concerned, government is the biggest collector of data. And as has already been pointed out, a lot of times more data is being collected by government agencies than that has been required. As far as the current situation or this present case is concerned, the COVID data leak or this CoWin data leak.
So we'll get to the current leak in a bit. But my sense is that both Himanshu and Salman, both of you agree that the gaps are more in having an appropriate law and having strict implementation of that law. It's not really a technological problem as much as it's more of a having the right systems in place problem. Will both of you agree with that?
No, there is lapses in the system as well. The thing is, the government should be in the positive direction, should admit their fault, that whatever they happened. For example, Mr. Ram Sevak, he is the head of this CoWin institute or a company, whatever you say. He is a chairperson of the high-powered committee who looks after the CoWin. What his statement is, he is saying, how is the data leak possible? There should be an OTP on the mobile number. When an OTP will come, then only the data will be coming. So he wants to tell us that 50 crore people will receive an OTP. Then a hacker will go and ask to the 50 crore people, Acha ji, you tell our data. What kind of irresponsible statement is being given by such a responsible person who is sitting on the position? There is a database at the back end. The hacker definitely got the access of the database, and they have downloaded the copy of the database that is already being distributed to multiple stakeholders. The copy is being distributed. Telegram was only being used as a medium to circulate the data, right? So government should come up with a statement that yes, it is done. Now we will take action against the people who are responsible for it.
So that's an interesting point, and we were going to take up this question a bit later, but I'll throw it up to you also, Salman. Like Himanshu said, he's spoken about the government's response to this particular alleged breach. Very quickly, how do you see the government's response? How would you describe it?
No, I agree with Himanshu, the way he has pointed this out. The fact is that the government is trying to pass the buck. I mean, the statements that Himanshu quoted are very alarming, where he's trying to justify, or rather the Mr. Ram Sevak is trying to justify his position by saying that there has not been a leak, and how can a Telegram bot leak the data, or no OTP request has been made. I mean, that's not how hackers work. The data has already been leaked, and we don't know how much is the exposure. It could be the whole of CoWin data, which is probably one of the largest depositories of health data in the world. And even the minister himself, in his denial statement, has said that this is not a new leak. I mean, it is old data that has been leaked. The fact is that the data has been leaked. You are trying to just try and justify that, okay, it is not a fresh leak, it doesn't matter. Government has been, for the last few years, trying to project itself as a global leader in terms of, who are going to collect a lot of data and secure that data. But at the same time, they are not able to, ensure security of that data.
So the sense that I'm getting, especially also from what Himanshu said, and this is related to both the alleged CoWin data breach and previous issues, is that I think somewhere also perhaps the government and corporations in India are collecting too much data, on data which is unnecessary as compared perhaps to their counterparts across the world. So that point Himanshu has made, now taking that forward, and I think you agree, Salman, now taking that forward, when you look at the fact that India's public digital infrastructure is growing by leaps and bounds, do you think it becomes a point of particular vulnerability in the absence of, let's say, a data protection bill, a continuing absence of a data protection bill?
No, I agree with that. I fully agree with that. There is a huge gap as far as the regulatory mechanism is concerned. When the government's effort has been for over the past few years to collect so much data than is actually required of citizens, and or the whole concept of digital India and digitalization. And now we are talking about a digital India bill, which is going to cover every aspect of the digital life of an Indian citizen. Then there has to be, at the same time, a responsibility on the government, because, in the draft, even the draft data protection bill, there has been an effort to, exclude government agencies out of the purview of the bill. So in case there is a leakage from the government side or any government agency side, they would not be held responsible, or they cannot be taken to court. So that is where the biggest problem lies. It's not just having the law, it is about a mechanism, which is a foolproof mechanism, and an enforcement agency that ensures that, if there is, firstly, there should not be a data breach. The government should have clear mechanism in place so that either it's government data or data in private citizens' depositories or in companies' depositories that should be regularly monitored in the sense from a security perspective, and ensure that the regular, relevant security measures are in place to secure that data. And the second is, in case there is a breach, then there should be very, strict penalties and strict responsibility held on people who are responsible for that breach.
Ultimately, what are your closing thoughts on how India can better secure the data of its populace and ensure that details which are meant to be private remain private?
We need a strict body or a regulatory authority, as Salman said, that should have the power to prosecute the government departments, government official, as well as the private individuals, companies, whosoever is collecting the sensitive data.
So the sense that I get from what both Himanshu and Salman, both what you've told me, is that there is a need for the right guardrails to be in place, whether that's legislation, whether that's a regulatory body, and proper and strict enforcement across the board. Thank you, Himanshu, Salman. Thank you for giving us your time, and have a good day.
The regulator clearly has its task cut out, and it will not be easy given the swift rise of artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, markets regulator SEBI has proposed tweaks to the total expense ratio structure, which is expected to increase the cost burden of asset managers. So how can the proposed changes impact the stocks of AMCs? Harshita Singh finds out in our next report.
Stocks of asset management companies, or AMCs, have been in the spotlight in recent months. After sharp losses in the last fiscal, shares of Aditya Birla Sun Life, Nippon India, UTI AMC and HDFC AMC have rebounded by up to 21% since April this year, as investors gradually put aside regulatory uncertainty after SEBI recently proposed a uniform TER structure. TER, or total expense ratio, is the fee that AMCs charge investors for managing mutual funds. Last month, SEBI proposed that the TER limit be inclusive of additional charges like brokerage fees and taxes. This, experts say, will create new expense burden for AMCs, which will impact their profits, especially those of large players. Jefferies sees wide divergence in impact between large and small funds. As per the brokerage, the top 5 large AMCs with over 50% share in industry AUM should see a 30 BPS fall in equity TER, which could decline 10 BPS for the next 5 and rise by 12 BPS for the next 10 players. This could impact AMC's profit by 30% on average, with as much as 50% decline for large AMCs. Analysts, though, believe that the dent on profits is transitory and will not impact the industry's long-term growth potential.
If one were to assume that most of the proposed guidelines are actually carried forward into regulation and is enforced as final law, there could be some sort of near-term pressure that one could witness in AMC earnings. However, this would be intermittent, this would be transitory. Although meaningful, it would be only a short-term phenomenon. The longer-term prospects of the asset management companies still stand strong. The target market is entering an expansionary phase, and we expect all asset management companies to really benefit from the market expansion that is underway for this sector. Watch the space closely. Obviously, there is merit in waiting for the final guidelines and the final regulations to come out. However, meanwhile, investors must continue tracking the space and watch closely for developments. This is an exciting space, and the listed universe offers a lot of opportunities for investors if done right.
AMCs plan to reduce the impact by passing the burden to distributors and brokers. A high pass-through could present upside possibilities for AMC stocks as per Kotak Institutional Equities, which has an attractive rating on the sector. With the regulatory overhang now gone, valuations will be more responsive to fundamental drivers such as flows and markets, it notes. It is thus advisable that investors wait for more clarity on the final regulation to assess the overall impact on AMC earnings. Today on June 15th, Dalal Street will react to the US Fed's rate decision announced last night.
He's making plans for an early retirement. Business Standard.
SEBI wants uniformity and transparency by bringing all additional expenses within the TER. Moving on, we are now a step closer to the world of spatial computing, where the physical world fuses with the digital. Tech giant Apple recently unveiled the Apple Vision Pro headsets, which use spatial computing. But what is this new technology that everyone is talking about? Ayush Mishra decodes it for you.
Imagine having your own AI assistant, like Iron Man's Jarvis or Edith in real life. With spatial computing, you're almost there. A spatial computing platform on an iGear can enable you to overlay computer graphics on the world around you and allow you to interact with them with hand gestures, voice, or eyeball tracking. Spatial computing converges your physical and digital worlds, enabling you to engage with digital content in augmented reality. By using sensors, cameras, and tracking technologies, spatial computing offers immersive experiences where virtual objects can be perceived and interacted with as if they were part of your physical surroundings. This revolutionizes communication, visualization, and human interaction, thereby making cinematic possibilities a reality. The technology captures a 3D model of the surroundings through photogrammetry, lidar, radar, and other sensors. Machine vision analyzes the data to understand visual information, enabling real-time decision-making and task execution in applications like self-driving cars, building control systems, construction management systems, and more. These applications leverage digital representation of the physical world to enhance performance and efficiency. Apple's latest innovation, the Vision Pro, attempts to make spatial computing part of our daily life. It revolutionizes our engagement with digital environments through spatial computing and a three-dimensional user interface. Powered by Vision OS, the world's first spatial operating system and high-resolution dual display system, it delivers a physically present feel. And it's just the beginning. Spatial computing is the heart of Internet of Things, automated warehouse operations, augmented reality applications, and more. A spatial map of machine components can guide workers through and around the machines for efficient repairs. Think of a technician who can access a virtual reality version of a remote work site to direct autonomous machines to function seamlessly. The technology can help coordinate multiple robots and the selection of tasks assigned to them. Spatial computing also has the potential to revolutionize manufacturing, logistics, property management, and autonomous vehicles. It can enable real-life monitoring and optimization of production lines, improve healthcare operations, optimize office spaces, as well as enhance user experiences. Tech analysts believe it has limitless potential for transforming physical products and their interactions with users.
I will achieve, I will fly high. I am the I in SBI.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
It is indeed a groundbreaking technology, but experts believe that it will be a while before the quality of the pass-through images and videos improve and the gadgets become affordable. Well, that's all for today. For more news and analysis, please log into our website business-standard.com. Thank you for watching.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.